We have a new Hunter exotic chest piece, and even though the theme this season is Arc, this chest piece is for the Nightstalker Void. Gyrfalcons Hauberk. The exotic perk See Me, Feel Me. Your weapons gain a bonus to damage briefly after you emerge from being invisible. When you are invisible and defeat a combatant using a finisher, you and your nearby allies gain a reserve overshield and improved class ability regen. The reserve overshields can be deployed by using a class ability. This has both very good PvE and PvP qualities. Time's gonna tell if it's gonna rise, but the initial impression, it's very good. And I do have two sections, PvE and the Crucible, because it works differently in each section. But before we get into it, I'd like to thank HelloFresh for sponsoring today's video. One of the things I love to cook, guys, is HelloFresh. And HelloFresh is America's #1 meal kit. They have more 5-star reviews than any other meal kit, and it makes cooking at home easy and affordable. They have seasonal recipes, they use fresh pre-measured ingredients, and I just recently got down on a little surf and turf. Steak and lobster from HelloFresh, and it was awesome. There's over 30 weekly options that you can choose from, and your menu's curated to you and your family or friends. You can get things like this. There's meat and veggie, pescatarian, fit and wholesome, family friendly, or maybe that week you just need some quick and easy meals. They got you covered. And as a YouTuber, I usually do that. I spend a lot of time here right at my desk. It's been too hot, so I haven't really been grilling, so this is perfect. I really value the quick and easy meals. This produce is sourced directly from farmers, and it gets from the farm to your doorstep in under a week. And these meal kits are sustainable. The pre-portioned ingredients mean that there's less prep for you, less wasted food, and the packaging the food is shipped in is already recycled content ready to go. Save time at the grocery store, save money, eat well, ease some stress, and at the same time have some great meals. Don't be ordering food delivery services that cost $40-50 and then you get it and it's cold. And it's nowhere near as good or good for you. And HelloFresh has an amazing deal for us. At the top of the description, use my link or go to HelloFresh.com and use code POGCOOLOG16 for 16 free meals across 7 boxes plus 3 surprise gifts. Don't miss out on this amazing deal that they have for us. The first part I want to cover is the Crucible. Your weapons gain bonus damage briefly after you emerge from being invisible. So as soon as you break invisibility, you get bonus damage text on your screen for 3 seconds, and in the Crucible, that bonus damage is 15%. You have to take into account that you have 3 possible avenues on Nightstalker. Number 1, Vanishing Step. Easy. Dodging, go invisible. 2, Trapper's Ambush. You can do the quick fall, spin the melee charge, drop the smoke bomb at your feet, become invisible, or on Trapper's Ambush, you don't have to do the quick fall, just drop the smoke at your feet, become invisible. These can be very fast cooldowns. There's a lot to talk about. Now, the 15% more damage, it's enough to TTK shift or have ease of use. Regardless, it makes every weapon have ease of use. It's essentially Frenzy. That's how you think of it. That's the damage profile that it represents. There are 2 ways to use this bonus damage. Both are extremely important depending on what weapon you're using, what it has, because you can do different things. You want to use both of these methods. The first one is placing your first shot on target while you're invisible. When you do this, your first shot is not going to be the bonus damage, but the shots after will. So this means something like a 140 hand cannon. We're looking at Ace of Spades. It does 70 on the first, 81 on the second with the bonus damage, and then the body shot at 54. So 205, no worries. That's a 2-head, 1-body ease of use. And then we can go into Memento Mori. And with Memento Mori, the same deal. The first shot's going to do 90 at base, but the second one is 104 with that boosted damage. There's a resilience check, 194, but there is a potential 2-tap. Now, the second way is to break invisibility yourself by firing the weapon. Do a little hip fire shot, then go into it. That way, you're getting the full damage boost. So with the 140, Ace of Spades, 81, 81, 54, no problem. But at that scenario with the Memento Mori, you spin that shot, you have the 2-tap now, 104, 104. And it's also worth pointing out, I don't want this to get lost. It's very obvious, but this loop is a huge part of the exotic, the radar manipulation. You're using that radar manipulation on a different level, coming out of invis with that damage. Weapons with kill clip. Let's take this Ice Luna, 140 hand cannon, same deal for the TTK shift. I would get a kill, use the reload dodge to lock in kill clip, spend a shot, come out of invis, break it, then I could start 2-tapping with kill clip. There's a lot of cool things that you can do. 180 hand cannons and scouts. It's the same deal because that 15%, it's like you have Frenzy. You can 3-tap it anytime you're invisible. So like with Vision of Confluence here, 61 on the first shot, then 70, 70. Or be out of invisibility and just go 70, 70, 70. And if you play Nightstalker, think of how many times you're gonna have your dodge. You're gonna have your smoke to be invisible. It's a lot. There are weapons that have resilience checks like Arbalist. It's gonna do 190 to the body. Lame, but it's there. Same thing with Monarch. 5 resilience or less. It's going to one-shot them with that extra 15%. And an important note, in trials, if you're a raid boss in there, 4+ power levels above your enemy, that Arbalist 190 is going to get higher. Same with Monarch. Things like Hawkmoon, you can use Paracausal ×5. The bonus damage is going to do 205. And Hawkmoon's really nice because you now have a 5, 6, or 7 Paracausal to one-shot. Crimson can 2-burst even when the first burst comes out regular because the boosted damage is 35 per crit, so it can 2-burst. Things like fusion rifles, the trick with those, and even Arbalist, I guess, is to be invisible, tap your fire button, tap the charge. When you do that, you're going to become seen out of invisibility. You're going to have that 3 seconds to charge the fusion, get the damage boost, getting more secured kills. Not to mention all of your CQC weapons, SMGs, sidearms, shotguns, adding 15% to those is a big deal. It goes a long way. It helps with ease of use, helps with damage fall off, resilience checks, everything. And even a weapon like the Messenger here. The first burst is regular, being invis, but the next crit is 41. So adding 15 damage to the burst. It's a massive help, extreme ease of use. And in this case, I'm using that 15% in the front to secure easier relaxed kills to transition into kill clip, to start doing the same thing. One of my favorites is Collective Obligation, running suppressor in the fragment that weakens an enemy. So I tag them, leech the debuffs off of them, go invis, load in the leech. I'm using Stylus Executioner, so defeating weakened, suppressed, or volatile targets grants invisibility and true sight. So in this case, this exotic, I'm coming out of invis with 15% more damage, applying weaken to them. So I have a damage boost and I'm debuffing them. When I kill them, since they're debuffed, I become invisible, so I can just keep looping it. Played one game, had a wee ran, it was great. And with the buff Collective Obligation got, it's really good. It made it to where it doesn't take as much to get this going. It pairs perfectly with this exotic. And then of course, Rat King, right? Go invis, come out with more damage, secure a kill, reload, go invis, do it over again. Very fun. This is a good exotic for the Crucible. It's kind of opposite of Omni Oculus, right? Omni wants you to stay in invis to have the DR. This one wants you out of it. Really cool exotic, ton of utility. I was just scratching the surface in this PvP section, but you can do a lot more. There's still more to do. It's a very good one. Now on to PvE. It does different things there. Guys, it is very good in PvE. I'm going to show you how to set it up. The PvE damage bonus is a massive 35%, and instead of 3 seconds, you get 6 seconds in PvE. After you come out of invis, 6 seconds to deal that increased damage. When you put the kit together, we also have wells charged with light, debuffs, and more. You're also using the second part of the perk, and Nightstalkers, be very excited. The second part states that while you're invisible, and defeat a combatant using a finisher, you and nearby allies gain a reserve overshield and improved class ability regen. The class ability regen is no joke, and your allies get it too if they're close. Now, the reserve overshield can be deployed by using a class ability, but there's also a hidden part, and that hidden part is very important. So for the Nightstalker, Vanishing Step, easy. Dodge, go invis, that way you can get your finishers. Important, Stylus Executioner. Defeating a weakened, suppressed, or volatile target grants invisibility and true sight. After performing Stylus Execution, your next melee attack while invisible weakens targets. It's about to get insane. For the fragments, Persistence, invisibility lasts longer. Obscurity, finisher final blows grant invisibility. Reprisal, final blows when surrounded by combatants grant super energy. And then Expulsion, void ability final blows cause targets to explode. Now, instead of Reprisal, you can do the Devour one, more on that later, but we got a crazy kit. You're gonna see a weak target, you're gonna go invis and go finish them. When you do, you immediately get the reserve overshield and a massive boost to your class ability regen. That way you can do it again. Very well thought out exotic. And since you have Vanishing Step, you're going to dodge, get the overshield and go invis. And with the fragment, when you do that finisher, you're gonna go invisible. Not stated, the surrounding enemies that are by the finisher will become volatile. And that means with Stylus Executioner, all those enemies that are volatile, when you down them, you keep reprocking invisibility, and in turn, reprocking the damage bonus. Keeping it up, shooting that 35% more damage. There's a massive loop in the See Me Feel Me, because another thing you can do, since you're constantly going in and out of invisibility, the other part of Stylus Execution is that when you defeat a weakened target and are in Stylus Execution, your next melee will weaken them, a debuff. So that leaves the door open for Trench Barrel. It's not completed, but Acreus is going to be insane with Trench. But I'm using the compass rose I talked about in my review. Trench Barrel, Turnabout. So Trench makes you have 3 shots that deal 50% more damage. When you throw that melee, it's going to break invisibility. So at that point, you get 50% from the Trench. The exotic gives you the damage bonus of 35%. And if you hit the flawless execution right, the stylish melee, you're going to melee them, break invisibility. They're debuffed. You have massive Trench shots with the exotic buff. But even if you don't get that debuff, weakened or not, the Trench with the exotic damage is huge. But then we have something like Collective Obligation, leeching the void abilities, then throwing them into the pulse and using them. And when you kill those debuffed targets, it automatically reloads. So what I like to do, I have a suppressor, I'll leech that, and you can take off Reprisal and put on Undermining so your void abilities weaken targets. That way when you hit something with a suppressor, you can leech both weaken and suppress. And when you get in close to enemies and do that finisher, make the surrounding enemies volatile, when you tag them, you're going to grab Volatile. And when you load that in, especially with volatile rounds, you have the fragment where void targets are exploding. The thing never has to reload. You're going constantly in and out of invis while suppressing them, weakening them, making them volatile. You're doing 35% more damage over and over. This chess piece was made for this exotic. And again, there's wells, there's charged with light. And you can also put on special finisher. Since you're doing finishers anyway, you can grab some special or maybe heavy finisher for your team. And you're also giving your team overshields if they're next to you and a faster class ability. Maybe you find ways to get orbs for being charged with light, with Devour, using charged with light, with high energy fire, with the exotic damage, with something like Trench Barrel. It can go on and on. Maybe you're just using a frenzy weapon, right? Just a flat, constant 15%. And then you're gonna have a lot of bouts of where you come out of invis, dealing 35% on top. They did a great job with this thing, a great job. In PvE, Stylus Executioner is a must, because even if you're not using Collective Obligation and you're landing those finishers next to targets, it's gonna make them volatile. So there's a world where you have 3 or 4 enemies that are volatile, you make one weak, kill the other 3, after you kill that third one, you're gonna become invis, go to that one that was weak, do it again, and maybe get some more enemies and keep the train moving. And also, every time that you're doing that, at any time, you're gonna have a reserve overshield. And maybe your allies do too. Use that class ability. When you dodge, you're gonna have an overshield and be invis all over again. You gotta get this thing. It is extremely good. There's a ton to cover this season, so if you're new here, remember to hit the subscribe button, and if you are subscribed, thank you so much for your support. We're almost at 200,000. Let's talk about this exotic down below. Thank you for watching, and until the next one, I am CoolGuy.